Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to presentation session D, the last presentation session here from the beautiful chapel. I'm Nathan de Groot. I'm the moderator of this session, and I present two presenters. Two presenters from Underlined are Max Werkhoven and Jasper Nooyen. And chances are Bart Geerts from ION will also join us for a final presentation. Max and Jasper, we tested the sound, so that is something we don't need to do again. But Jasper and Max, are you in the same place or are you really far apart?
We're in the same place.
In the same place. And where are you located now?
We're actually located at Yacht as well, in the old wing of the Yacht building.
Ah, okay. And what is your role at Underlined, Jasper? And maybe Max can tell that as well. And then finally, you can go ahead with the presentation.
Well, my role is I am a data scientist at Underlined. Max is a consultant in our team.
Okay.
So that's it. Max is going to kick it off. So,
yeah.
The floor is yours. And then if I would like to emphasize that if you have a question or remark as a viewer, please use the comments, and then one of your comments might be selected to be asked to the presenters. Jasper and Max, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Nathan. So, welcome. Thank you all for having us. As Jasper already said, he is a data scientist and I'm a consultant at Underlined. We are a company which is also in Den Bosch at the moment, so we're actually looking at the chapel where this event should have been taking place. What do we do? What is Underlined? What kind of company is Underlined? Basically, everything you need to know is on this slide. So basically, Underlined builds data-driven customer experience. We help companies like insurance companies or all other kind of companies, banks, everyone with lots of customers, lots of contacts with them and lots of big data in how they should help those customers in the best way possible and also make some money out of it, obviously. We use lots of techniques and basically everything we do is based on data science. So that's why we have a lot of data scientists working with us and we're always looking to expand on that part. Jasper is going to tell you a little bit more about what a data scientist at Underlined does and how his or her day looks. But first I'm going to do a quick introduction about what Underlined does, a little bit more broad so you get a good grasp on what Jasper does all day. So what we do is basically build on working within the customer journey. So you have like different journeys which get confused a lot. But what we see as the customer journey is not the human life cycle, which you see in the top left. It's basically what someone does during his whole life, and not consumer journey. So someone needs a vehicle all his life. It starts with a skateboard and goes via a midlife crisis cabrio to a 45-mile-an-hour car. So there's you have a need for a movement all your life, but your real customer journey is you buying one of those cars, or in this case, getting an insurance for one of those cars. So that's your customer journey. That's what we try to make a lot better for our companies. And we also have a lot of experience with the user journey. So when you have that insurance and you finally use it for the first time because you parked your car against a tree, then everything that happens there, make sure that you are a happy customer or not. Because before that, you didn't really have something to do with a company except for having to pay. But when you really start to use anything, that's the moment where you as a company can make a difference and where you can do a lot of data analysis to make it a better place for a customer. When we get to the next one, customer experience is getting a lot more important. So when we look at the 60s, 70s, and even way before that, it was all about, as a company, getting it mass produced and push it. And that's basically the only thing you need to do to be a market leader. So we all know this one. It's like Henry Ford always said, you can have any color you want as long as it's black. Nowadays, that's totally different. So when you look at what's important right now, it's everything needs to be digitized, everything needs to be personal, your experience needs to be focused on you, and you expect from a company that they know that you already called them, that they know that you already sent an email, that they know that you already went to the website to try and solve your problem. And it's getting so personal that there's even markets for things like this, getting your own socks branded. There are like 50 different socks in every store, and still people want to make their specific own sock. So that's today's market. Even if something is totally different, you still want to make it personal. Nowadays, everything you do collects data. So when you look at everything you see and do in daily life, everything you do collects data. So, for instance, okay, I wasn't muted, I hope. No, okay, very good. Everything you do collects data. So, for instance, a smart thermometer. Obviously, it's handy for you to get insight in everything you do, but it also knows when you take a shower. It knows when you go to bed. It knows when you go to work. So it knows a lot about you. Obviously, every Wi-Fi point where you connect to is the same. I won't even start about Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. Obviously, your bonus card in the Netherlands in the supermarket, it's not only to get you your specific discount, but it's to know, okay, why does someone do that? Why does someone buy something? How does someone move through our shop? And there's also with Google and surveys and even intelligent movement, there's a lot of data available about you that can help you getting a better service from a company, which they don't need to ask you beforehand. So theoretically, this data has a lot of value. Even if you combine it, it should get those companies kicked off in a matter of minutes, and they should really make your life better by knowing what you want and what you do in that company. But companies basically do not know what to do with it. Sorry, I have some Dutch headers, but it's basically companies are looking for chances in big data. Big data companies don't use as much of the opportunities big data has. They only see big data as a toy. And this is a problem because they do want to have the answers that big data can give them. So when you, for example, when you get a new bank card, you would think that this is a process that a bank knows, that a bank understands, that you go to a website, you can call this, you can find a solution, you make a call, you expect them to know all these things about you and make that one journey. But that's not the case, because actually, you check the website and you're looking for, I lost my card. And you can't find anything because on the website they name it block your old card. So you call them, and that's basically a totally different silo in the company. So they don't know anything about what you did online. Then you call them and you get a separate survey. And the survey is asking, okay, was your problem solved at once? And you're totally flabbergasted because you just called them to tell them that your problem wasn't solved at once. So you complain, for instance, and when you complain on social media, someone will react, oh, that's bad. Can you please contact us with the contact number you used? So they still don't know what you were talking about earlier. So these are all different parts of the company, all different parts of customer data. And you need to get those combined to really make the next step in data analysis. So companies measure customer experience mainly by NPS, which is the question you probably all know. This was in my email yesterday, but you probably get one email every day. How would you recommend our company to friends or family? That's basically the question on a scale from 0 to 10. And what those companies want is basically a button to press, which they can use to improve, for example, their NPS or any other, say, X score they measure with. So what do we do? And Jasper's going to tell how we do it, but what do we do? We make sure that customers are happier by showing them what their customers want and what their customers really do. We help them lower their costs, the company, because they can change some very costly processes customers like a lot better, and customers won't call to complain. And by doing that, they need to connect some different parts of the company together to really make sure that those problems are solved, and that's also a big plus. We use all kinds of modeling for that, and Jasper is going to tell you a little bit more. So about the life as working as a data scientist at Underlined, because everything I told is basically built by everything our data scientists do. So we're really focused on those products. So what we basically do is we connect all data sources. We use all kinds of modeling like text mining, impact modeling, customer journey mining, and in the end also dashboarding to give companies the real insights in what they should do to make their customer happier and also connect it to business value. So Jasper.
Yes, thank you. So as Mark said, I'm going to give a little bit insight in how what the things I do in order to achieve these kind of insights for our customers. But a little bit before I start is that within our team we are quite a small company, and that actually gives me the opportunity to do all kinds of different things that are associated with the work of a data scientist. So from the start where we get data till the end where we reach our insights, I am able to experience all of those steps. So what data do we work with? We work with the customer satisfaction survey. So this is the data that comes forward by the small the email question that you get, where you actually say how likely are you, how satisfied are you with our company. We get customer features, so we know what kind of people they are, the gender, the age, the residence, all stuff like that, and then the contact data. So this contact data can come from different sources, come from different systems, from different departments within the company, and what we actually do is we connect that data to each other to get one big data set where this data comes together, and that's what we use for our analysis. What tools do we work with? We work with C#. This is a programming language which we use to develop our own software product. We have our own software product that helps us in automating as much as possible from data gathering to data analysis, and we develop our own modules and techniques on that. So that's one aspect. We use KNIME, which is a tool to load, transform, and combine data. And we actually also create small piece of software that actually connect our own software and this tool KNIME. In the end, when we do dashboarding, we work with Tableau and Power BI to create two big tools that our customers usually use. And then in between, we use R and Python for modeling, for machine learning, and those kinds of techniques. So as a data scientist with Underlined, you work with all of these different kinds of tools and tasks. As I said, we have our software program in which we do several things. We do data gathering. So the software actually gets data and that saves it and transforms it. The software connects the data to each other. So if you have data from different sources, it's connected to each other so that in the end we know what data from all different sources belongs together. And we also perform, we have software that helps us with our data insights. So we have modules that are enriching the data, and this enrichment is then used in our analysis and dashboarding stages. First of all, data gathering, connecting. So what we typically get is this is an example with some fake data, where you know at what time did it happen, where does it come from, which case or customer does it apply to, and there are different things that you see. So for example, that are different channels used. We sometimes get duplicate data because the same contact is registered in multiple systems. There is a lot of textual data, especially if someone has been emailing or gives some feedback in customer satisfaction surveys. And our software is actually built to take all of these different things into account and process the data accordingly. And one of the things that happens next is text mining, which we use to enrich our data with text mining, and we can apply text mining to the different types of text that I just described. So emails, loggings from employees, loggings from customers, all different kinds of things. And also, what we also do is that we have these text mining techniques available via our API, where customers can actually just simply send one text and they get one topic back, and they can do this real time basically. So that's also something that we are developing within our own software product. Now, after you've done text mining, and this is an example what you see here, text mining has been performed on customer feedback. What you can then see is that you can make top 5. You can show what topics are found the most, what scores are associated with that, and are other topics where people are more positive or more negative in general. And in that way, we actually combine the data and provide some real insights into them. This is one example. Another example of one of our modules is that these days, last year, the lifecycle model is something that more and more companies are starting to use. The lifecycle model is a model that is not data-driven, but what it does is it provides a company to visually represent all the different kind of things a customer can do on 3 levels. Firstly, the stage, which is the most highly aggregated level, which is usually something like I'm orienting myself, I become a customer, I am a customer, and I maybe leave, or I stay a customer, or I actually leave. So this is on the highest level. One level below is some phases. So if you are a customer, you can change your information, you can change your product, you can, for example, use your insurance, stuff like that. And then on the lowest level is what they call contact reasons, and this is, for example, I provide some measurement data if you are talking about an energy supplier. And then once these companies have this model in place, they want to connect their data to it. So we have actually created a module that is able to do this data-driven, so that we get data and we get the model, and then we can connect the two together. So how does this look like in the data after all of these data gathering, connection, and enrichment? Is that you get additional columns to your data, for example, the text mining results or the lifecycle elements. So that's what you see actually here. And this is actually part 1, basically, where we get data, we connect the data, we get the data set for analysis, and then we need to provide our customers with insights. And we do that typically in 2 ways. We use driver and impact modeling, where we actually show, calculate basically, based on the data, what are the features in the data that are having the highest impact on a certain metric. And to give you one example of that is this one, where we have a model that actually indicates why people might call again or might not call again. So this is a metric that is basically with first and fix or process efficiency, and our analysis tools that we use here are independent of what the metric is, because the metric can also be, is a customer going to leave the company or not? The metric can be what NPS score is this customer going to give, and what is behind this is an automated way of taking our enriched data set, transforming it to variables, and have multiple models actually tell us which parts of the data are giving the highest impact on our specific metric. Sometimes we stop here, and we can cluster, of course, drivers that are associated to each other. So we have maybe multiple drivers that are talking about what kind of customer this is, what kind of person this is. Some drivers about the history, about their context, and then we can combine this and create from the data a nice story where it all comes together and that a company can actually understand. especially if you're not necessarily dealing with data scientists at the other end. What we then also can do is actually combine this all within a dashboard. So I give one example here, where the screenshot in the middle is actually the main display, where several metrics that are important to this company are combined and shown. And from there you can click through it and you can go deeper and deeper into your data in order to get the full picture of what the data is telling you. And once you have a dashboard in place, companies can simply send, for example, each month new data. We enrich the data again, we put the data back in the dashboard, and they can see then how their metrics and how the other data is moving along in time. I'm going to click through them a bit bigger so that you can see some examples of it. So like I said here, so in the center we have 3 different metrics that are important. So the NPS score we talked about, the CES score is the customer effort score, and the first time fix. These are all metrics that are important to the organizations. You can actually look a little bit deeper into one metric, where you can show how is this metric affected by the type of channel that we've used. What are the values of the NPS scores over time for two different types of customers, for example, and this is all captured in such a screen. But you can also click a little bit deeper and go back to your text mining results, which are then again come back in this kind of video. Or what we can also do, of course, is this lifecycle model, these stages, phases, and contact regions. You can also create visuals on that to show our companies where in this lifecycle their customers are mostly at, where the most contact occurs. We can also combine those kind of things and also the driver model results to customer value and company value. So customer value is which of these aspects have a positive or negative effect on our NPS score, for example, or which of the contact regions are actually generating the most costs for us as a company. So that also indicates very strongly where should we look at in order to improve on that. And lastly, what you can also do is show within one visual the driver results, where you can actually show not only is this variable, this driver positive or negative on my metric, but also how many customers actually deal with this variable or actually associated with this variable, to give one in one view where you can see, okay, this one is negative, and also a lot of customers are impacted by this. So this is where I can get the most gain if I tackle and improve on that aspect. So this is in a nutshell what a data scientist at Underlined does very quickly. And like I said again, it's you can actually with Underlined deal with several aspects of a data scientist. So at the start, connecting data, gathering data, enriching data, enhancing our software program, but also in the end, in the analysis phase, also a lot of things happen with data where we actually create the insights that our customers can actually work with. Yeah, so to then finish it all off, any questions? But I believe we have a live chat.
And one little thing extra, Jasper didn't tell, there was a big fake button on the top with the dashboarding. That's obviously, it's fake data. The dashboards are real and also running at some of our customers, but this was fake data. So so that's basically what that is. When you're looking for an internship or maybe a next step within data science, then you're always welcome to send us an email. We're very happy to have a chat with you.
All right, Max and Jasper, thank you very much. And for all the viewers that are with us still, please know that it's possible to ask a question or send in a remark with the chat. I can see a selection from the chat here on my iPad, but I will ask the first question. Let's see. Yes. I don't know who mentioned it, but the one mentioning the headlines. They were in Dutch, but I could read it, of course, like the big data is a bit underestimated. And at the same time, someone in the talk show today also said it's overestimated, it's a bit hyped. So how do you deal with this, that people sometimes give you a data set and they expect miracles from Underlined? How do you manage expectations as a data scientist?
Basically, when you look at the kind of customers we have, they have so much data that has some incredible value, but basically do not know where to start and do not know how to combine all this data. So we don't live in a world where we get one data set. That just is not, we are not there yet as companies, at least in the Netherlands. So basically we can achieve miracles because they are not able to combine all this data and get the right analysis done. So I understand that probably the person telling you this afternoon is being that there's a lot of fuss about big data and there's a lot of attention to big data, but companies, as our headline showed, don't really know what to do with it except for talking about it and thinking they should do something with it. Okay,
then let me challenge you and ask if you have an example of a miracle that Underlined delivered recently. Do you have an example of something, an improvement in the NPS score, maybe a bit of surprising element or aspect that you achieved?
Yeah, obviously. So mostly it starts with that companies basically don't think that a lot of data sets can be combined. And by using a lot of different data techniques and comparison columns and whatnot, we can build one data set for basically every company. That's the first thing that mostly companies say, okay, I'm sure you cannot do this, but if you can, then we trust you enough to take also take the next steps. So a lot of companies see that as the miracle, but on customer happiness or customer experience, there are a lot of different insights that help companies. For example, we find web pages that when people visit that web page, 50% of people getting to that web page call a company, which is very costly because every call costs them 20 or 25 euros. So when you get to the website and build it a little different or get some text changed, then it's making a lot of difference for a company and also for the customer because they don't have to call because it's clear at once. Same things you will see with, for example, letters they send out they build them with best intentions, but end up being very costly and very confusing for the consumer.
All right, thanks for the answer. I will have a look in the chat and see look at the sidekick to see if there's any questions coming in. If not, I will ask another question. Well, you quoted Henry Ford as well, and you said you can have any color as long as it's black. Henry Ford also said if you ask people what they want, they will say faster horses. They will not come up with the car. So how do you go from the problem analysis and the data to a fitting solution? Is that also part of a data scientist, or is that part of a different job?
No, it's also part of what a data scientist does, because what a company will ask us is basically what the slide also showed. They basically want a button to press to improve their NPS, for example, or a button to press to improve their customer happiness. And it's totally the job of a data scientist to get to the right model, get to the right data to make sure they get the good insights to make that happen.
Okay. And I thought I saw that you have the customer journey modeling, that you have created own software for that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that applicable to all sectors? Doesn't it matter whether you buy a car or whether you want to buy a house? I don't know. Is the principle of a customer journey always the same?
Yes. It's always the same, because what the customer journey is based on the moments you are getting in contact with the company as a customer, and also how you experience, or either individual contact moments or the whole process, the process as a whole. Those two kinds of data are actually measured logged, and we have techniques that are applicable to that data. And all different customers in banks, for insurance companies, for companies that sell cars, that sell all products. Those two elements are always present, and our techniques and our processes are actually applicable to those two kinds of data.
Okay, and what is the secret of a great customer journey? What is the best customer journey you know, for instance?
In the Netherlands, it's always very popular to call out companies like Coolblue, for instance. Yeah. But the customer journey has a lot of rules. For example, a peak end rule, and you can skip phases and change things. But the Coolblue's customer journey is one I personally really like. But the thing that is most important about customer journeys, if you ask us, is measuring. Not only build your customer journey, but really measure them based on data, so you really see what your customer thinks about you and thinks about your customer journey, and not only what you yourself think about it. So that really gives you the points to make it even a better place to be for a customer.
So using data as a mirror, basically, to...
Yeah, you know so much about your customer that it's actually kind of rude to even ask them again, okay, what did you think about this whole experience? Yeah. While they just told you via mails or texts or telephone what they already think of you. So you should be able to do a lot of good for your customer before you ask them.
All right. Thanks very much, Jasper and Max. Your contact details are here. A final question from the chat is, are there possibilities regarding a bachelor or master's thesis to do this in your company?
Yeah, we have a lot of thesis students, and basically that's one of the ways we use to improve our modeling and improve everything we do with our product. So basically, when you're interested in doing something within customer experience and data science, come to us. We'll have a coffee and or tea or anything else, and I'm sure we can work something out which adds to both us and your own dreams.
Okay, thank you very much, Max and Jasper, once again.